In this video, we're going to show you how to replace an airbag clock spring on your Toyota Tacoma. This will be located under the steering wheel. Let's get started. Using a 10mm socket, loosen the negative terminal for the battery. Remove the negative battery terminal. Put this off to the side where it won't make contact with the negative terminal. Disconnect the negative battery terminal. Be sure you leave at least 90 seconds before touching any terminal on the airbag system. Remove the covers on either side of the steering wheel using a plastic trim tool. Do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to use a T30 bit and remove these screws for the airbag. These are captured bolts. You'll be able to loosen them but not remove them. With the two screws loose, pull straight out. There's a small tab on the back of this. We're going to push on that tab, pull up, and remove the connector for the horn. We're just pushing on the small tab in the back. Pop these safeties up for the airbag connectors. Remove the airbag connectors. Put the airbag to the side. When we put it to the side, you always want to keep it with the steering cover face up. If the airbag goes off for any reason, it'll only try to go up and it will not propel itself upward. Using a 19mm socket, remove the nut for the steering wheel. Remove the nut. The steering wheel and the steering shaft have two marks. There's one right here and the other right here. We're going to mark these two spots so we can line them back up when we reinstall the steering wheel. I'm also going to do a second mark right on the side. We're going to use our knees and hands, and we're going to push with our toes and heels into the steering wheel while pulling it towards us with our hands, and you can pop the steering wheel off. If you struggle to remove this, they do have steering wheel removers that you can use. You'll thread two bolts into either side and then use a clamp and push down on the center, and it'll pull the steering wheel towards you. Using a Phillips screwdriver, remove the two screws on either side. Pull down on the steering wheel cover. We can pull up on this top one, and down back here there is a pinch that we're going to push on either side, and then we can pull the cover up. You may need to drop the assembly down slightly. This is that pinch clamp. You can push on either tab, pull it out. Remove the two connectors for the clock spring. There's going to be a push tab right here. We'll push on that, pull straight back, remove that connector. For the yellow plug, We're going to push on this right here. Pull straight back, remove the connector. We have one more connector. It's going to be the gray one right on my pointer finger. There will be a safety tab. We'll push on that, pull down, and remove the connector. There's going to be 3 of these claw tabs that are holding in our clock spring. There's one right here. There's one on the other side to match. And then there's one more on the top. And then you can remove your clock spring. Install the clock spring. Push it down into place. You'll hear our 3 tabs click in. You can give it a little pull, make sure it's locked on. Install the 3 connectors. Push until you hear a click. If you don't, give it a slight pull, make sure it's locked on. Install the top cover. Be sure that pinch clamp seats into the bracket. Grab the bottom cover. There's these 2 small alignment tabs in the corners of the bottom cover, right here. Be sure these line up with the top. You'll hear the back of the covers click together. Be sure it's installed over our adjusting lever and is sitting correctly on the ignition cylinder. Install the Phillips head screws. Get them nice and snug. Install the harness through the top of the steering wheel. Line up the marks on your steering wheel. Push it down into place. Get the nut started. We're going to make sure our clock spring is centered. There's going to be a mark right here and one to match right here. We're going to make sure we have 2.5 turns both ways. We'll go around once, twice, and now we want a half, just like that. Once it gets hard, do not keep pushing. You do not want to break the unit. We'll go back a half, then 1, 2, and we'll try the other way. 1, 2, and just over a half. Come back, half, 1, 2. Once we've counted back, we're going to make sure our 2 lines meet up and install our steering wheel, making sure the harness is going through the top slot. Line up the steering wheel marks, push down, install the nut, snug it down, torque the steering wheel nut to 37 foot-pounds. We're going to hold the steering wheel as we do this. Install the airbag connectors to the airbag. These are color-coded so you can't mess them up. Install the connector and then push the lock tab down. You'll hear an audible click. Give it a little pull, make sure it's locked on. Do the same thing on the other side. Install the horn connector. Install the airbag onto the steering wheel. Snug down the T30 bolts. Do this on both sides. Torque the T30 bolts to 78 inch-pounds. Do this on both sides. Install the covers on either side of the steering wheel. They'll snap into place. Install the negative battery cable. Snug it down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.